Welcome back to my channel, Oodles of Joy Designs, and today we're going to be talking about how I use my digital planner to plan out my day. So to start, I generally like to set aside 5 to 10 minutes each day to plan out my day. Usually I'll do it at the start of the day, but sometimes I will plan out my day the night before. I just want to say that when I'm planning out my day the night before, I'm not planning out my whole day. I usually just plan out a couple to-dos that I want to carry over from the day before. So similarly to planning out my week, I do like to make sure I'm in a quiet place. I've set aside a certain number of minutes to do this, and that I have my noise canceling headphones, a glass of water, and maybe a snack. So once I'm all set, then I just go about planning my day. So I start by planning out my day by looking at my weekly intention. Usually I've already made duplicates of the daily spread, so that way I can just go about my day and add things in. So I just make sure that my weekly intention is already there, do a little bit of reflection, and think about how I want to feel that day. Now usually I will use my weekly intention as a guide for the quote of the day, and that's generally what the first thing I add to my calendar is. So for the quote of the day, I like to go to Pinterest and I like to type in either my weekly intention, or I like to see how I'm feeling that day or what I feel I need, and I type in something similar to that. So if one day I wake up and I'm feeling tired, I'll type into Pinterest quotes about being tired, or tired quotes, or energy quotes. You know, something that I feel will resonate well with me that day, that's kind of in line with how I'm feeling. So I like to go to Pinterest again to do this, and then I'll typically find a quote that's resonating, and then I'll use that as a guide for the day. So after I found my quote of the day, the next thing I like to incorporate into my calendar is time blocks. In addition to time blocks, I also put any appointments or meetings that I feel are important for me to remember during the day. So if it's a weekday, I usually time block my work schedule. So from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I will do a block, and sometimes I'll decorate it, sometimes I'll just put a block of color. It really depends on my mood and how much time I have that day to be planning. In addition to doing the time blocks, I also make sure that I write any special appointments or meetings that I have that I might want to remember throughout the day. So after I've done my time blocks and my meetings and appointments for the day, I next like to review my week by day. So the week that I have planned, usually I'll put 3 or 4 items that I want to complete on each day. So I'll just make sure that I bring those 3 to 4 items that I've selected for whatever day it is and add it to my current day's spread. Something else I like to do as well is to look at the previous day's to-do list and see what I have completed and what I haven't completed. If I find that I haven't completed something and I do want to complete it, I'll just make sure that I also bring that over from the previous day into the current day as well. So after I've kind of reviewed the weekly spread and also the previous day, my next step is to create a general to-do list of things that I want to complete that day. How I create my to-do list for the current day is to think about everything that I want to get done. Generally, throughout my days, I've created a habit where if there's something that I know I want to get done, I'll just write a list in my digital planner of just things that I want to be completing. Usually, if it's like 5 to 10 minute tasks, usually I'll just write a quick note. I generally tend to write reminders about things that I want to get done, because I don't always just have one planning session and then I remember everything I want to get done. Usually the things that I want to get done come to me throughout the day, or I do something else and it sparks an idea or a past idea I had that I forgot because I didn't write it down. So I usually keep a lot of notes about that. So I do review my notes just to make sure that I'm getting everything done that I've wanted to get done, and I'm making progress on each of my goals. I like to create to-do lists that target a variety of my interests. So I like to separate it out into different areas and categories of my life. Right now, some categories that I've been using recently is a personal category, a category for my dog, a category for my house, and then a category kind of for my business. So these are kind of 4 categories that I use very frequently, and they are things that I'm trying to make a lot of progress on right now at this moment in my life. So once I have those categories, I kind of break it down into like, okay, what is one goal that I've been trying to reach? And how can I get myself just a little bit closer to that goal and do something today that would bring me closer? And that's kind of how I generate my to-do lists. After I've created my to-do list, I look through my whole to-do list. I have 20 lines of things that I can do each day. I don't always do 20 things, but it's an option for me. And I identify 3 priorities for myself. Once I've identified the 3 priorities that I want for the day, I proceed to highlight them, and then I copy and paste it and put it in my priority section. After I've highlighted my priorities, I then go into a couple different sections, and sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't, but those 2 sections are my exercise section and my self-care section. If I'm doing this in the morning, I will identify some exercise that I want to be doing throughout the day. I do walk a lot, so sometimes I'll just put walk with my dog. And then for the self-care section, I'll do something that I want to do for myself that is geared towards caring for myself, kind of self-care. So sometimes that will be gua sha my face, or wear a face mask, or paint my nails, or even call the doctor and set up an appointment. And then really the last thing I do is my notes section. Sometimes I'll put little notes here and there. Usually they're reminders for me throughout the day of things I want to do or ideas I have. And that's kind of the last thing I generally do to plan out my day. Past that, I do use my digital planner, the day spread, throughout the day, but I use it more for kind of check-in purposes. Sometimes I'll document, what I've eaten if I haven't been feeling well. That way I can kind of pinpoint if there's a certain food that I'm not feeling the best with. I like to write a little note about how I'm feeling physically and mentally throughout the day. And then if there's any notes that come up or ideas I have, I'll put that in my notes section so that I can later review it, look at it, expand upon it, or just have record that I had this idea at this time. So that's generally how I use my day planner. One last thing I do want to mention is occasionally I will use it at night, and I use it at night for kind of the gratitude portion of it, and then to check off my to-dos. Sometimes this doesn't happen. Sometimes I forget about my digital planner the minute I get home. I'm trying to be better about it, but this is something that I am trying to incorporate into my life more. So at night, I'm really trying to check off all my to-dos, and then I will also do my gratitude kind of exercise. Usually I'll choose 3 things that I feel gratitude for. And then this is also where I will sometimes pinpoint things I haven't gotten done, and I'll move it to the next day's kind of to-do list so that I don't have to go back that next day. Generally, this is how I plan out my day in my digital planner. I'm sure it's a little bit similar to how you do it. If you have any insights or want to share anything about how you plan digitally, that would be amazing. I love to hear what everyone's doing and just learn more about this community. I hope this was a fun video for you to watch. I will be doing more videos on digital planning. If you have any ideas or if there's anything that you want to see in particular, feel free to leave a comment down below, a like, or even subscribe if you want to. I'll be doing more videos, like I said, so I hope to see you around, and until next time, I am wishing you oodles of joy and happy planning. Bye!